Hello guys. I am going to come with another quick video. I feel like this could be helpful, very practical. I was talking to the Lord, of course, just kind of asking him, okay, so what am I supposed to be doing in the wilderness? Kind of like the same question that I posed before, but in a different way. And I got taken to Deuteronomy 2, where the Lord actually functions in the wilderness. Like, I wanted to look that up. Like, what does it look like for the Lord to move for his people in the wilderness? So I got to the second chapter, and I read through verses 34, but I won't read all of that now. I'll read a little bit and then kind of discuss on what I think could be helpful to me and to others. So the first verse says, "Then we turned and took our journey into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea, as the Lord directed me. And for many days we journeyed around Mount Seir. And the Lord spoke to me, Moses, saying, 'You have roamed around this mountain country long enough. Turn northward. And command the Israelites, you are to pass through the territory of your kinsmen, the sons of Esau, who live in Seir, and they will be afraid of you. So watch yourselves carefully. Do not provoke or stir them up, for I will not give you of their land, no, not enough for the sole of your foot to tread on, for I have given Mount Seir to Esau for a possession. You shall buy food from them for money that you may eat, and you shall also buy water from them for money that you may drink. For the Lord your God has blessed you in all the work of your hand. He knows you're walking through this great wilderness. These 40 years the Lord your God has been with you. You have lacked nothing." And so as chapter 2 continues, this happens over and over again, where the Lord tells them to go to a place, but tell them that it's not their turn to possess it. He literally says, don't go to the wilderness of Moab. I think it was the next one. But don't take it, because that's not yours, that's theirs. Go here. Don't take it, because that's not yours, that's theirs. And eventually, towards the end of the chapter, they get to a place where they're allowed to take possession of or a part of land, and the Lord kind of orchestrates the victory through that. So I was like, okay, so Lord, this is how you move. You give instruction from the beginning. Then we turned and took our journey into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea, and the Lord directed me. And for many days we journeyed around Mount Seir. And the Lord spoke to me, Moses, saying, "You have roamed around this country long enough. Turn northward." So you give instructions. And they were already kind of roaming. So Moses was already like, he was holding on to a promise already. And he was moving and actively listening to hear the next step. So in the wilderness, I feel like we ought to know some of the things that the Lord has already spoken over us, and continue to hold on to those things, because they will come to pass. The Lord's FYI, the Lord's promises, they come to pass, y'all, for real. So we need to also rest in that, knowing that their promises come to pass, but also be an active listener to the instructions on how to get to the promise. And that's what Moses does here. And the Lord says, hey, you're going to get to these places that might even look like a glimpse of the promise, but it's not yours, so don't possess it. And in that, I was listening and I was thinking about this. I was like, what does this mean? And to me, I got out of that sometimes we covet other people's things. Like we see that this might be somebody else that we know, their promise, they might be at their promise and they might be walking in their promise, and we see them and we're like, oh, I want that, I'm supposed to have that. That's where the Lord is trying to take me, and we get frustrated with our walk and our process, and we try to do things, grab at quick things to get to where we feel like the next person is. And the Lord is saying, hey, like he literally says, for I will not give you of their land, no, not enough for the sole of your foot to tread on. A lot of times we see people's promises and how they're walking in it, and the Lord is like, hey, I got something different and I got something bigger for you. Like, you can't fit there. They fit there, and it's them and it's crafted for them. You got something else in mind, so stay focused and listen to my instructions step by step. I'm a light to your foot, like step by step. This is a step-by-step instruction thing. So if I can encourage somebody, I would say just hold on to whatever the promises that the Lord has already spoken over you. but also be an active listener. Stay on your face, you guys. Stay on your face. And I have not been doing the best job of this at all, but stay on your face, trying to hear and be ready for like the instructions of what the Lord wants you to do, how he wants you to move with spiritual things and very practical everyday things. But also don't covet anybody else's promise and their process and their walk. It's for them, it's not for you. And it's crafted, like it's crafted for them, and it's not crafted for you. So and the Lord will bless you. It says, for the Lord your God has blessed you all for all the work of your hand. He knows you're walking through this great wilderness. These 40 years the Lord has been with you. You have lacked nothing. You have the resources that you think that you do not have. You have. He has given you the resources, and even though they might not be in your hand just of yet, they're there. You just got to stay focused and stay trusting the Lord. And I know how hard that might get, but you will walk and you will see your promise. You have to. There's some things on this earth that the Lord has called you to do, and nothing's going to happen to you until you get it done. So if I could just encourage somebody, it encouraged me. I needed that a little bit. If you're like me, you need a constant everyday reminder of like what it means to be still in the Lord, and be patient in the Lord. And that's real hard for me. I like seeing things like that. And sometimes the Lord just does not work that way. And in turn, that builds character in the wilderness, and that builds the fruit of the Spirit in the wilderness. And so I hope this encourages you guys. Yeah, I love you. If you need to send any more prayer requests my way, send them. Yeah, thank you. Have a good day.